Well, I'll be over there next week, and Matt has a special pre-election film on Channel 4 on Sunday evening, examining changes across America since President Obama took office. The American Road Trip, Obama's Journey, will be on at 7 o'clock, Channel 4, Sunday.
Rangers Football Club currently sits in first place in Division 3 of the Scottish Football League. Their financial collapse and subsequent relegation to Scotland's 4th tier has been a fall too far for a small but hardcore minority of the club's fans. Those perceived as being involved with imposing such a penalty have suffered a year of intimidation. Our chief correspondent, Alex Thompson, has been talking exclusively to the victims and seeking to find out what the authorities are doing about it. His report does contain some strong language.
Glasgow's looking forward, future dreams taking shape for the Commonwealth Games here. And yet, when it comes to one game, football, and one club in particular, Rangers, past nightmares haunt this city, and many say they're getting worse. Serious criminal threats to kill or injure anyone daring to criticise the Ibrox club are scarring Rangers' attempts to rebuild from financial disaster. For the first time, Gary Allen QC reveals just what happened to him when he sat in judgment of the club's mismanagement on a panel set up by the Scottish Football Association.
I wasn't ready for my family to be exposed to that, and that caused me a lot of concern.
He was summoned to an urgent meeting at the headquarters of Scottish football at Hampden Park, where Special Branch and Anti-Terror Police said his safety was in danger from Rangers fans connected to Northern Irish paramilitary groups.
We were given a full briefing on mail handling. I was told that there would be certain items which I should under no circumstances open if they were not from a familiar source. I was told that I should take the mail into the smallest secure room with the fewest windows, have the family somewhere else in the house whilst I opened the mail.
He was briefed on bombs, razor blades contaminated with feces, HIV or ricin. He should call the helpline and emergency services would come to him. Under no circumstances should he go to a surgery or hospital because of contamination fears. And at huge cost to the taxpayers, his house was under police surveillance 24/7 for several weeks. But as Rangers imploded this year, the activities of a small but violent minority widened way beyond Glasgow to the coast of Fife, on the other side of Scotland. Starks Park in Kirkcaldy, home of Wraith Rovers. Earlier this year, a Wraith director was also part of that SFA panel, which Gary Allen sat on. And when news of that became public, says club chairman Turnbull Hutton, all hell broke loose.
We had a call from West Belfast and indicated that he knew who we were and to be careful.
And then came the call from Fife Police.
There has been a couple of guys have been lined up to torch the stadium.
To burn it down?
Yeah, yeah.
A QC, a club chairman, but it doesn't stop there. Newspaper, Scottish TV and BBC journalists in Glasgow have had to call the police this year because of threats to their homes and families, to say nothing of their workplaces.
I've advised of 31, 32 since, say, December of last year.
32 journalists?
Yeah, and that would be on things like, you know, where people are going online and saying, well, we know what school your kids go to, we know where you live, we know what pubs you drink in, and they publish that online and make suggestions that someone should give the person a slap or pay them a visit and put them right, and that's totally unacceptable.
Well, it's a real wintry day here at Cathkin with the Lanark kicking off in the white strip.
Cathkin Park, once home to 3rd Lanark, a Glasgow football club whose financial mess proved terminal. Today it's an eerie place, an echo of a club consigned to oblivion. The writer and social commentator Jerry Hassan has been following the problems of Rangers closely.
I think Rangers do have a cultural problem, and part of the Rangers sport particularly has a problem. I think it comes from being the dominant club of Scotland, and they don't like being challenged. They don't like having things that are uncomfortable about their traditions brought up, basically.
But all clubs have a troublesome minority. Can it really be the case that Rangers' problem is any worse than any other club?
Well, I've been on the receiving end of threats from other fans and things over the years, but I think because of the nature of the Rangers story and what's happened to them, I think that there's a real problem there, and I think the club needs to get involved in dealing with it as well. I know it is particularly bad in respect to some of their sites and some of the comments, and the intimidation is predominantly coming from their websites.
They have a worse problem than other clubs.
Absolutely.
No question about that.
No doubt about it.
A QC, a club chairman, 32 journalists, and it doesn't end there. The editor of a factual book about Rangers this year expected a degree of controversy, but nothing like what would unfold.
And I found a copy of the online broadcast in which the listeners had been told what my Twitter username was, and it had been suggested to them that they should contact me via Twitter and harass me. The nature of what they should say to me was even given on the broadcast, and it was really, really horrible, frightening stuff.
Right, Angela Haggerty, her name is, right. She, I think, probably proofread and edited this book. You see this bitch, get her tweeted like man, get her tweeted like she's a total not a piece of.
There was personal details about me published online on blogs, where I live, even my age range, which was very specific.
And you lived in a small place at the time. It's not like you're in Glasgow, right?
No, it was a very small place. I think very small population. It would not be hard to find. So especially when you narrow it down by age range, name, you know, very specific details that were put out about me.
Strathclyde Police declined to be interviewed, but issued a short statement saying,
Strathclyde Police does not tolerate criminal threats in any context, and any report of such behaviour is taken extremely seriously by the force.
recognising that this is a tiny minority in a hugely well-supported club. We asked Rangers for an interview, but they declined, merely saying,
Rangers Football Club, like every other responsible club, does not condone any form of antisocial behaviour.
This reticence extends right to the top of Scottish football. The Scottish FA wouldn't even make a statement on this issue, much less grant an interview. Those who are prepared to speak out say it's time the game got a grip and time the authorities found their voice.
At some point, somebody's got to kind of stand back, draw a line in the sand, and it's a kind of truth and reconciliation committee. We've got to kind of look back and say, right, mistakes were made, individuals made mistakes, things were said in the heat of the moment. We can't go on this way.
That's what we need to understand, the complex mosaic of Rangers as a culture. The fact there's people struggling here, the fact there's people who are reacting in ways that are aggressive and nasty, but that there are good Rangers fans and they need to speak up and find voice and speak up for all of us.
For many in this city, that can't happen soon enough. Alex Thompson, Channel 4 News, Glasgow.
And you can watch an extended version of Alex's interview with Gary Allen QC on our website, channel4.com/news.